Well, we folks of the animal kingdom have our own version. It's the story of what really happened in Sherwood Forest.
Robin Hood. Ah, yes. After around 50 years, this movie still stands as one of the most famous versions of the classic tale. Seriously, if you ask someone what do they first think of when they hear the name of the man who steals from the rich and gives his loot to the poor while joined by his merry men, it shouldn't be a surprise if they respond with a charming fox and his big bear buddy. For the longest time, Walt Disney wanted to produce a movie that would star a fox. Something like Reynard the Fox or something like that. The only problem was to figure out how to portray foxes in a more heroic light in a way that kids can also get into it, as they were usually typecasted as sly villains in cartoons, including some of Disney's own. It wouldn't be until a few years after Walt's passing when animator Ken Anderson proposed the idea of adapting Robin Hood but with anthropomorphic animals, resulting in the perfect solution to Disney's long quest of finding their protagonist fox character. Not to mention how Robin set a new standard for cartoon foxes, where he wasn't Disney's last leading fox for a few of their next pictures. But I know I'm probably repeating myself since I've already explored the making of this film, but this time, we're coming back to it to examine the movie itself. As much as this is still among Disney's fan favorites, does it still hold up today? Well, this is what this review is all about. To answer the question if this is either as noble as Robin Hood's spirit, or as pathetic as Prince John's temper. What do I think? Well, let's find out. Hey everyone, before we get started on this review, I'd like to mention that the movie that I'll be talking about, and to a certain extent this review that you are watching now, would not be possible if it weren't for the actors and the writers who have played a key role in the making of this film. As you are probably aware, or during the time that this review was released, both actors and writers are on strike in order to protect their livelihoods, fighting for a more livable wage and job security from the threats of AI. As a professional actor myself, I stand in solidarity with the strikers and support their fight until they inevitably win. If you'd like to support the strike, then donate to the Entertainment Community Fund at entertainmentcommunity.org. Thank you all for your attention, and now, enjoy the review. The story. There's a good chance that you're already familiar with the tale of Robin Hood, where a good-hearted outlaw steals the taxes collected by the tyrannical Prince John and gives it to the poor folks at Nottingham. If there is one major connection between the original legend and the Disney version, it's that they share a theme of standing up against dictators and authoritarianism.
The traitors to the crown must die!
Traitor to the crown? That crown belongs to King Richard. Long live King Richard!
Long live King Richard!
But as it is still an adaptation from the Mouse House, they had to make a whole lot of changes from the source material. In this case, it's to simplify it to the point of only retaining the core components of the tale. I do understand why they had to do this, especially when this is a family feature to which the children are the prime target demographic, and they wanted to make sure that the adventure is easy enough for the small ones to understand and grab their attention throughout. I'll say now that I can see how kids can get into it fine, but this does come with a major catch in terms of the film itself. With a simple narrative like this, there is that drawback that it makes it easy to guess early on regarding how each scene is going to turn out, and how they accumulate where it doesn't take long to look at the big picture and know the outcome of it all.
Now see here, you evil flint-hearted legion!
Now, save your sermon, preacher.
Then again, that shouldn't be too much of a problem as long as the scenes themselves can be entertaining enough so that you could still have fun during the ride. I will give it that it can certainly do that, but my biggest criticism with this is with the moments that it doesn't. There is that drawback from its simplicity where there are some scenes that can drag on and spend a good amount of time on something that could have easily been done with a few lines. One example I can think of are the moments with the kids, like when they meet Maid Marian and Lady Cluck. Yes, I get that it's supposed to establish that she still loves Robin, but they really spend more time than they should with the ladies playing with the children to deliver some unnecessary cuteness. And the worst part about it is that the next scene does the exact same thing and is more straight to the point about it. It doesn't always happen, but it is possible where there are times when there's just filler that can make the experience feel longer than they are.
Mama said you and Robin Hood are sweethearts.
Well, no.
Did he ever kiss you?
Take that, you scoundrel!
Also, even when they can be slow with some scenes, the ending feels a bit abrupt. I'll be quickly going into spoilers here, so if you don't want to hear about them in case you haven't seen the movie yet, then skip to here and you'll be good. Yes, Robin Hood saves the people and took Prince John's taxes, but it feels like there was a whole scene missing where King Richard returns and the bad guys get arrested. I know this may seem like a little detail where we can easily fill in the blanks on that one, but I feel like it would have been very satisfying to see Prince John lose his throne along with everything else. I am aware that there was an alternate ending that shows exactly that, but I'm analyzing what's in the final product. Not a big problem, but would have been great to see that extra justice.
You have used the crown for your own selfish interests. You should be banished from England forever. But it would upset Mother. Oh yes, the crown.
I think it's safe to say that storytelling is not the movie's highest priority in this, which mainly leaves the other elements like the animation and the characters to do the heavy lifting. So despite this not being Disney's best told story, can this movie still be engaging? Oh, absolutely! As critical as I was about how the story can be basic to a fault, everything else about the movie is able to carry itself well in a way that viewers can get invested in the events that unfurl. There are times when they can be slow, but there are less of that compared to when the film can be fun, when the characters can be enjoyable, and when the action can be exhilarating. It's kind of like the movie itself is aware of its own strengths and weaknesses, and while it can't fully hide its faults, it does try to make the most out of its greatest assets to ensure that its audience can have a good time. In a way, Disney's Robin Hood is not about telling the story of the world's most beloved thief. Instead, the purpose of the story is to present the parts that people will love the most about the film. The animation. Whenever you return to Robin Hood, one thing that is always a pleasant sight to see is that classic Disney-style animation, or specifically, animation from the legendary 9 Old Men during their later years, along with a team of other legends like Bernie Madison, Don Bluth, Dale Bear, and more. And debatably, this is some of their best work during that era. The group has always been admired as some of animation's greatest masters, and this is a shining example with how their movements can flow very nicely. One thing they were able to capture the best is the characters' emotions, and you can see them expressed in a variety of ways that could suit best for the respective person, ranging from being dynamic for comical effects with broad expressions with their whole body, or even be subtle to show what they are feeling and establish the mood where just their eyes say everything.
I hope I win the kiss.
Oh.
They also did a fantastic job with the action scenes to make them feel big and capture different tones. They are undeniably the most exciting parts of the picture, where they can either be wacky with plenty of opportunities for gags, or they can get intense like the climax that really puts Robin in peril. Also, as it is from the 1970s, this was when they were making the most out of the Xerox process and still learning how to improve the technology. By this point, I won't say that they've perfected the craft at the time, especially when there are moments when the black lines can be very pronounced and get a bit messy, but those flaws are very minor to where they don't distract you from the overall look, and they still used it very well to bring the characters to life.
I'm gonna win that golden arrow, and then I'm gonna present myself to the lovely maid Marian.
Listen, Scissor Bill.
Of course, the one thing that stands out about this version of Robin Hood is that it features a cast of anthropomorphic animals. Visually, it is true that a good bunch of them are more of a coincidence that they are also animals, and that trait is more to match with their personalities, like the sheriff being a wolf, Little John being a bear, or Robin Hood being a fox. However, there are others in which the animators found a lot of great opportunities to play with their physical attributes. This is especially the case with Sir Hiss, where they did so much with his body that I sometimes don't know if I should laugh because of how the jokes work, or admire the creativity in him. In fact, you may have seen this meme going around about how Disney animators figure out some incredible detail, like how to make a snake cross his arms.
Snakes don't walk, they slither. So there.
As for the backgrounds and colors, it's interesting to note how this is more of a natural movie. What I mean is that they are very well crafted, of course, but also most of it is heavily based on the forest, even with the man-made medieval structures like with the castle and the village. Not to mention how a good portion of the film is located at Robin and Little John's hideout in Sherwood Forest. Even the color palette uses shades commonly found in nature. And the more I think about it, the more that I realize it's pretty clever to emphasize that this is the story from the animal's perspective. So in that case, why not have the setting reflect that to make the environment match the creatures that inhabit the place?
Oodle-lolly, oodle-lolly, golly, what a day.
Speaking of the visuals, it is worth noting about how this movie famously recycles animation, especially during the phony King of England scene where they retrace shots from Snow White, The Jungle Book, and the Aristocats as a way to catch up with their schedule during production, since they were falling behind. If this were released today, you know this would be something that cartoon fans on social media would pretentiously snark the crap out of Disney for doing this. However, we know this wasn't the first nor the last time that they recycled. Nowadays, this is like a fun little in-joke among Disney fans that adds this Easter egg-like fun into the experience. Rather it be the animals in the middle of some crazy action, or to visually bring these personalities to life, it's all thanks to the 9 old men and the Disney team at the time who helped make Robin Hood a visual splendor that is always great to look at. The characters. One great ability that classic Disney had was that when the story seems a bit lacking in their movie, they always make up for it with a cast of unforgettable characters. And in the case of Robin Hood, this is the type of feature that can definitely deliver some favorites. On top of the great animation, what makes them so enjoyable to watch is having a talented team of voice actors, people who can really play up the personalities and even make them unique in terms of their own interpretation of their respective part. It also helps a lot that the actors have great charisma and a keen sense of comedy to strengthen their likability and provide the film with a good dose of humor.
That's a naughty word. We never rob. We just sort of borrow a bit from those who can afford it.
Borrow? Boy, are we in debt.
I will say that the one drawback from them is that they mostly are one-dimensional, where they only have that one personality trait that fully defines them, but they do make the most out of it throughout the picture. Starting off our merry crew is Robin Hood himself, whom despite being known as a thief, he has a heart of gold to which his actions are motivated by helping those less fortunate than those he steals from. Some say that this Robin Hood is responsible for creating modern furry culture, and for people to find anthropomorphic animals to be attractive. Honestly, after watching this movie, I can believe that because Robin has a tremendous amount of charm. Not only does he have a sharp wit, barely any fear, and is highly empathetic, but he's also very romantic where, despite never seeing her in years, he would do anything to reunite with Maid Marian. His love can be best described as passionate, and he doesn't hide that she is more valuable to him than anything he steals.
And does this prisoner return your love?
Marian, my darling, I love you more than life itself.
Alongside him is Little John, whom, because this is Phil Harris voicing a Disney bear, it's hard not to think of him as Baloo from The Jungle Book. In fact, what's funny about this Little John is that he's more accurate to Rudyard Kipling's Baloo than the Disney version. Sure, he's got Harris's signature smart aleck mannerisms, but he's also a bit more cautious than his fox friend.
You know something, Robin? You're taking too many chances.
Chances? You must be joking.
Yeah? Take a look at your hat. That's not a candle on a cake.
Hello.
Also, it's worth mentioning that another change Disney did from the legend is that Little John is Robin Hood's only merry man. They do have Alan a Dale and Friar Tuck in the picture, but their roles are mainly to be Robin's allies from Nottingham, with Alan being the film's narrator, and Tuck being one of the least patient with the sheriff and Prince John, to the point that he's not afraid to fight back.
You want taxes? I'll give you taxes. Oh!
Also, there's Maid Marian, the fair lady who awaits to reunite with her love with the kindness of a Disney princess, accompanied by her boisterous lady-in-waiting, Lady Cluck.
Oh, Clucky! But when? When? Oh, patience, my dear, patience. Remember, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
And then you have the villain of our story, Prince John. As he's the temporary king of England while his brother, the real king, is out on a crusade, he is best described as a power-hungry Republican, very similar to those kinds of politicians and far-right influencers. What he hates the most is when things don't go his way. The kind where he gets upset whenever someone tells him no or call him anything but a great ruler. When things get too out of control, he's an absolute coward who tries to escape without facing the consequences. And when he's left in a position where he clearly lost, his response is generally throwing a toddler-like tantrum.
Enough! I am king! King! King!
However, as much of a wimp that he is, his crown still makes him a threat. With the aid of his reluctant assistant Sir Hiss and the dastardly and heartless Sheriff of Nottingham, he still has tremendous power to ruin lives. With the kingdom's army by his side, he can still get rid of mostly anyone he chooses, making him easily underestimated where he may be remembered more for his pettiness, but he will still make you regret upsetting him. Not to mention how Peter Ustinov is one of the best actors here with how he balanced the comedy and danger of the character in an amusing Shakespearean way.
And when our elusive hero tries to rescue the corpulent cleric, my men will be ready.
It's not the adventure itself that makes you get engaged with the picture, it's the people you tag along with that makes this fun. And with the assistance of some great voices, this Robin Hood will have at least one version of the character that you'll consider as your favorite. While I don't know if I could say that this is the best movie based on the legend, and I definitely won't call this one Disney's best, this is still a fun film. Robin Hood is an enjoyable animated feature that has some of the essence of a classic Disney film to ensure that its viewers can have a good time. Its writing may be flawed where both the story and character development are basic and can cause some moments to have a slow pace, but it does a lot to make up for what it lacks with the masterfully crafted animation, amazing voice talent, exciting animation, and a lot of wonderful personalities. I won't say that this is a high priority to go and watch, but if you want something enjoyable to put you in a good mood, then this one is worth considering. But my best recommendation is to use this to introduce kids to Robin Hood. This can be a good teaching tool for them to learn to fight for justice and to stand up against bullies with power. And if you had a good time with this review, then consider giving this a like and subscribing to my channel. You won't need to steal from anyone with the riches of content that I have for everyone. I question if that's what really happened to Robin Hood, but those animals sure do tell the legend pretty well. Hey guys, this is Animat, and I want to start things off by giving out a huge thanks to Red Bandit for his amazing support on Patreon, which allowed him to get some amazing rewards, including this one, where he got to ask me to review Disney's Robin Hood. Now, there is one thing that I would like to go and make a big clarification regarding this review, because I'm sure there are some people out there who are going to go and ask me, but some may wonder, why is it that I didn't go and actually talk about the songs in Robin Hood? Because some people would say that, much like many other Disney films, this would be considered a musical. Well, to be very honest, and I don't know if this would be considered a hot take or not, I don't really think Disney's Robin Hood counts as a musical. I mean, yes, there are songs that are featured in the film, but they're not necessarily used as a full-on musical, because many of those songs are just used as montages that we would hear the song in the background, but we don't necessarily see all the characters singing, or we don't see like this big elaborate number with like a literal song and dance performance. I mean, not even Robin Hood himself ever sings throughout the whole feature. I think that is a big clue right there. And I mean, technically, yes, there is the Phony King of England that counts as a musical number, but that is the only one that is a legitimate musical number throughout this entire thing. But with that said, though, I'll just go and clarify that the songs are definitely good. Like, they are, like, I won't say that they're amazing. They're not, like, the most memorable Disney songs out there, but they are definitely enjoyable in their own right, especially when it comes to the Phony King of England, in which nowadays some people would go and use that as a bit of an anti-fascism theme. You know, like to go and, have this like fun little song to celebrate being in the opposition of dictators and authoritarians and stuff like that. And also, by the way, here's a little fun trivia about Robin Hood. Did you know that back in the 1950s, Republicans actually tried to ban books about Robin Hood because of the anti-authoritarian message? They view that as communism. Just thought it would be fun to go and mention that. Alright, but anyways, now that we are complete with Disney's Robin Hood, it is now time that we shall go and pass on to the next review that will be picked in the animation hat. And by the way, before I go and pick the next animated film that we will review, I would just like to go and say that if you would like to be like Red Bandit and you want to go and support my work and get some amazing rewards at the same time, including but not limited to seeing my videos before anyone else, then all you have to do is go to patreon.com/animat. But at the same time, if you would like to suggest an animated film you would like me to review and that I would put onto the animation hat, then all you have to do is write me an email at animatsreviews@gmail.com. Alright, so now that we are good with that, let's see what our next animated film shall be now. If I could go and pick one, of course. Sometimes my picking skills are not... Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, I dropped a few. Hold on a sec. Let me just quickly clean that up. Alright, but I do have my next one right here. And so the next review shall be... Whoops. What the... Oh, whoops. Okay, well, I might have to pick another one because, like, this would have been a really nice segue. I picked The Jungle Book, but I already reviewed Disney's Jungle Book. So, all right, let's go for a round two now. Hold on a sec. Let's just go and pick a better one. There, hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay. Hopefully this will be the right one. Or something that I didn't review. So the next review shall actually be... Oh, okay. Oh, this is interesting. All right. Okay, so if you want me to go and take a look at an actual musical, then yeah, this one will definitely be it. Oh, this is going to be quite an intriguing one, though. I will say that when it comes to this film in particular, I think it's honestly debatable in terms of the animator's works with this. Some people say it's one of the better ones. Some people say it's not as good, but I do remember watching it from time to time as a kid. So yeah, let's just say that we're gonna get chilly with the next Don Bluth film that I will be looking upon.
Mommy.